So what really is going on over at Sony? It seems in the last couple weeks, the momentum for Sony's PlayStation 5 console has seemingly vanished. Now, I know the pre-orders are gone. That's really the only way you can gauge these kind of things. So in that sense, both Sony and the Xbox Series X are definitely well on their way to enter, at least sales-wise, the next generation. And as far as I can tell, they're pretty much sold out across the board, at least here in the United States, across pretty much every major retailer: Amazon, Best Buy, GameStop, Target, Walmart. For the most part, you can't find them. Every so often, you'll see a small batch of them cycle in or out of stock, but for the most part, they seem to be gone. But that brings me back to my initial question, and the problem I'm having is what happened to all this momentum that Sony had? Recall that everybody lost their collective minds, yours truly probably at the top of the list, when Sony announced during their latest State of Play, or their PlayStation Games Showcase, I think they called it, the actual price, the release date, and then through a little bit of flubbing, did end up releasing the consoles for pre-order, and everybody went bananas. We found out some more news about Miles Morales. We found out some more news about Ghost, most recently today, as a matter of fact, which definitely does excite me that we're going to get more content and more multiplayer stuff, more charms, a new Game Plus mode. It seems like they're really beefing up the game. I'm excited for that. What we're not seeing about anything, though, is any real discussion of forward compatibility outside of a loose quote that Jim Ryan gave about 99% of games will be compatible, and they left it at that. No discussion on enhanced frame rates. No discussion on how you would transfer save files. None of that. As a matter of fact, it just seemingly vanished. To the tune so much so that Insomniac had to come out from their game and say, whoa, just so you know, Spider-Man games will transfer. Which is a very odd statement to make, considering that most of the people, they said progress wouldn't carry over, then they said save states would. It doesn't seem like we're getting a clear message. I don't really blame the developers in this case. I think this type of notification or this type of feature set definitely needs to come from the PlayStation themselves. It needs to come from Sony, the OEM, Jim Ryan, or a community blog, or Sean Layden's gone. Herman Hulst, one of those guys. They need to come out and talk about this, and they're not. Obviously, that leads to a lot of speculation. We live in a very instant millennial society where people get very whiny and pissy if they don't hear about things instantly. And unfortunately, this has been going on so long, even Gen Xers like me are starting to get a little whiny and pissy, saying, hey, where is the news on this thing? Meanwhile, Xbox has released their Series X consoles to a large portion of the press, who have been nonstop blogging and tweeting and YouTubing their experiences with many of our favorite games, showing off significant performance enhancements across the board. Sekiro running 60 frames a second, games loading in a quarter, of the time that they used to. Just very, very rapid amount of data being transferred, and they look better, and they're up-resed, and they're better frame rates. And your saves carry over, and the memory card is great, and you can still use an external hard drive, and it's still great. We're not seeing anything from Sony, and I gotta admit, as a die-hard Sony guy, and you guys know me, you know my channel, you know my love for Sony, I'm a little worried. Does this quell my desire for PlayStation 5? Absolutely not. Do I have every possible console, accessory, and launch game on pre-order? Yeah, I do, and I'm very, very excited for them. But I am a little nervous that Sony is being mysteriously quiet. And when you look at the trends of media and who's talking about what, there's not a lot of people talking about Sony right now. Not that I feel the need that you have to talk about my console to justify my feelings for it. I really don't care about that. I think it more speaks to the problem that there's nothing to talk about. We don't know anything. We've seen the PlayStation Game Showcase. We have a really good idea of what games are going to be launched when, based on their pre-orders, and it's been all of the companies themselves speaking out. Ubisoft speaking out about what you can expect to see in Assassin's Creed Valhalla and how it's got free up-res. Borderlands 3, free up-res. The list goes on, but you're not seeing it from Sony themselves. And this is a very odd strategy, a very different strategy than what we saw at the launch of PlayStation 4, where there, Sony was very, very adamant in their discussion that the console was built with developers in mind. And all the hardware and all the programming required to make the PlayStation 4 work as well as it did was built hand in hand with key industry players. And they had many people coming out on the stage and talking about their experiences. Recall that's when PlayStation launched their We Love Indies. We got some phenomenal launch indie games, put Housemarque on the map. We had Resogun, we had Contrast. We had a lot of really good indie games that came out in a very short amount of time, primarily because Sony included them at the table and then turned around and told the world what to expect. I have to believe that those things are still being discussed in the background. But at the same time, we are missing that piece of that, follow through to the consumer to say, hey, look, we've talked with Warner Brothers, we've talked with EA, we've talked with whoever. We understand their concerns. These are the kind of experiences you can expect on our console. I'm not seeing that. I'm getting a lot of secondhand, third-hand information. Somebody will tweet a picture of some website from Japan, or a friend's buddy knows somebody who's a PlayStation developer, or look at this leak I found on 4chan, or look at this thread on subreddit. At the 9-minute mark, they said this word, it's too much hunt and peck and too much fact-finding. And that really reminds me, honestly, of the PlayStation 3 launch. And we know how that went. That was not very well received. So I'm hopeful we get some news soon. Like I said, I'm still all in. I am not getting a Series X. I am definitely getting a PlayStation 5. I just hope that their silence and their non-committance to anything really at this point is going to be a huge, uppercut to the world, just like the PlayStation Showcase was. But if it's not, boy, was the writing on the wall, and I am going to look incredibly stupid when I get my PlayStation 5 and it runs games like garbage and it's not the experience that I thought it was because they haven't been saying anything. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. I don't know. I want to hear from you guys, though. You feeling the same way I am? Are you diehard Xbox? You diehard PlayStation? You somewhere in the middle? You buying them both? You buying neither? I have a lot of friends who are diehard Sony fans who are in a wait-and-see mentality, something that they were not with from the jump from PS3 to PS4. So clearly there has to be some merit to my discussion. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it somewhat informative, or at least made you think about some things, maybe in a different light. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.